Happy Sunday, boys and girls. Today, our gospel story is a bit long, like last Sunday. Usually, the Sunday gospels are longer than the weekday ones. So, you're going to have to watch it in two parts, like you did last weekend. This is a story I don't think we've read this year, but I know we talked about. Remember when we read this story about how Jesus healed the little girl who was very sick and she'd actually died, and he brought her back? And I said there were only a couple stories like that in the Bible, but one of them was about Lazarus, who'd actually died and been buried and was in the tomb, his tomb, for like 4 days before Jesus came and raised him from the dead. That's the story we're going to read today. So I know you're familiar with it, so you get to hear the whole thing. It is a pretty long one, though, so let's get going. And it is also from John, like all our Gospels have been lately. A man named Lazarus, who lived in Bethany, became sick. Bethany was the town where Mary and her sister Martha lived. This Mary was the one who poured the perfume on the Lord's feet and wiped them with her hair. It was her brother Lazarus who was sick. The sisters sent Jesus a message. "Lord, your dear friend is sick." When Jesus heard it, he said, "The final result of this sickness will not be the death of Lazarus. This has happened in order to bring glory to God, and it will be the means by which the Son of God will receive glory." Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. Yet, when he received the news that Lazarus was sick, he stayed where he was for 2 more days. Then he said to the disciples, "Let us go back to Judea." Judea was where Martha and Mary and Lazarus lived, the town called Bethany, but Jerusalem was also in Judea, and that's where the temple was and where the Pharisees, who were already trying to kill Jesus, were. "Teacher," the disciples answered, "just a short time ago the people there wanted to stone you, and you are planning to go back?" Jesus said, "A day has 12 hours, doesn't it? So those who walk in broad daylight do not stumble, for they use the light of the world. But if they walk during the night, they stumble, because they have no light." Jesus said this and then added, "Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I will go and wake him up." The disciples answered, "If he is asleep, Lord, he will get well." Jesus meant that Lazarus had died, but they thought he meant natural sleep. So Jesus told them plainly, "Lazarus is dead. But for your sake, I am glad that I was not with him, so that you will believe. Let us go to him." Thomas said to his fellow disciples, "Let us all go along with the teacher, so that we may die with him." When Jesus arrived, he found that Lazarus had been buried for 4 days before. Bethany was less than 2 miles from Jerusalem, and many Judeans had come to see Martha and Mary to comfort them about their brother's death. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went out to meet him, but Mary stayed in the house. Martha said to Jesus, "If you had been here, Lord, my brother would not have died. But I know that even now God will give you whatever you ask him for." "Your brother will rise to life," Jesus told her. "I know," she replied, "that he will rise to life on the last day." Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. Those who believe in me will live, even though they die, and those who live and believe in me will never die. Do you believe this?" "Yes, Lord," she answered. "I do believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who is to come into the world." And that's a good place for us to stop right now, boys and girls. So I'm going to stop it and then start on the next video to read the rest of the story to you.